And yet, in the midst of this terrible decisive battle, the other Z-Fighters were having a picnic, only to encounter the legendary Super Saiyan Broly. Broly pursued Goku as though he was guided by some strange compulsion, and forced the Z-Fighters to confront his overwhelming power. Calling upon the power of his friends, Goku has placed their hopes for victory in a single epic attack. Vegeta and the others accepted an invitation from a mysterious Saiyan named Paragas. Meanwhile, Goku learned from King Kai that a Super Saiyan had destroyed the South Galaxy. And upon detecting this Saiyan's energy, Goku rushed to confront him using instant transmission. Instead of a rampaging Saiyan, Goku found a quiet young man. But the moment Broly saw Goku, he flew into a wild rage. Kakarot!
How do you know about me?
What the fuck is context? There's no need for context in Tenkaichi 2. Tenkaichi 2 doesn't give a single fuck about your context. You thought this film took place on another planet? No, fuck it. It takes place on Earth, in an Earth city that looks exactly like Earth. Why is the city already destroyed? I don't know. Who the fuck is this Broly guy? Where did he come from? What is his story? How is he related to this Paragas character? Who gives a shit? Tenkaichi 2 doesn't give a shit. You want to talk about why Broly was calm and then was sent into a sudden rage by Goku? Okay, we can talk about that because the game at least mentioned it. Broly was sent into a rage by Goku because when Broly was born, Goku caused Broly a whole lot of trauma by constantly crying, like all the damn time. This hatred had been so deeply rooted into Broly that Broly didn't even see Goku until 3 decades later, and he still flipped the fuck out when Goku showed his face. It's a really weird reason to hate someone for the rest of their life, but Broly's a really weird and fucked up guy, and Saiyans are really weird and fucked up to begin with, so I can totally buy that this would happen. Broly's babyhood was also pretty terrible for a lot of other reasons, regardless of Goku, so associating Goku with that time period probably doesn't help.
Finish! Goku and Broly's battle waged on, the warriors matching each other blow for blow.
You're relentless! This is the same power I sensed earlier. You're the one who destroyed the South Galaxy, aren't you, Broly?
Increasing by leaps and bounds with each passing second, there seemed no limit to Broly's power. Sensing this from afar, Vegeta rushed to the battle. Kakarot! Don't tell me you're the legendary Super Saiyan! How dare you trick me!
So Vegeta was tricked by this Paragas character to come to this planet. He was saying, hey, I'm gonna rebuild the Saiyan Empire, and you should come too, cause your dad, King Vegeta, he was the best Saiyan. And Vegeta bought into it, and he was like, cool, I'm gonna help rebuild the Saiyan Empire. But then Paragas is like, you first have to destroy the legendary Super Saiyan who's wrecking all these galaxies. Vegeta's like, okay, I can definitely handle that. And Goku shows up separately, and he says, hey Vegeta, this mild-mannered Broly guy, he's actually the legendary Super Saiyan. And at first Vegeta's like, no way, look at this little shit. He's not even angry or violent. And then Broly gets real angry or violent, and Vegeta goes, oh fuck, I'm screwed, and turns into a huge pussy. He seriously spends most of the movie, most of the fight with Broly, completely paralyzed with fear at just how strong Broly is. Because Broly is one of the most ridiculously strong characters of the time period. He was so goddamn strong that King Vegeta was afraid of him as a baby because his power level was already 10,000, and that's ridiculous. Broly's father, Paragas, is like, you can't kill my son, he could be a great asset to you. And then King Vegeta points out that Broly could also overthrow him, and kills both of them. But of course they didn't actually die, otherwise they wouldn't be here. Later, Paragas figures out King Vegeta is right, and Broly is a complete nutcase even by Saiyan standards.
This is the legendary Super Saiyan! He'll kill us all! The slaughter will begin with you!
So you may be wondering why someone who's as big a crazy bastard as Broly was acting so mild-mannered before, and the answer is mind control. Paragas' mind control, to be exact. I'm not going to call him stupid for this, because short of abandoning his son entirely, there wasn't a lot much else he could do. It is kind of crazy that he tried to manipulate Broly into doing his bidding, but mind control is really the only sensible solution when your child can kill you. Still, Paragas had to know it would go wrong at some point, right? Because when has trying to mind control a completely insane monster ever gone well? If you can find me a single time where that panned out long term, I will be very impressed. But Paragas seriously just barely survived putting the mind control device on Broly to begin with, so he had to know that something would go wrong at some point. But again, to Paragas' credit, he couldn't possibly have known that Goku would show up, especially since all the Saiyans are supposed to be dead. And what are the odds it would be that one specific Saiyan?
Show me your will to fight, or I'll destroy this planet!
Not a chance! Gohan, don't hold back! Give him everything you've got!
Right! He's a monster!
If we let him live, he'll wipe out the whole universe. We can't afford to lose this time!
Stop! You can't beat him! He's the legendary Super Saiyan!
You only get to play as Trunks this time, in spite of the fact that the game clearly showed Gohan and Goku helping out. I guess they wanted to make the fight more challenging, and it certainly is more challenging with only Trunks. I believe Trunks is the one who reveals that the entirety of the new planet Vegeta is just a scam, and that Paragas used slaves from a planet he pretty much destroyed in order to make it happen. And yeah, he does join in the fight against Broly, but it's pretty useless. Trunks, Gohan, and Goku fighting together can't do a damn thing. So it would seem that Vegeta is correct in this situation. It is a little funny how quickly Vegeta changes his mind, because at first he's like, I'm the ruler of all Saiyans, and that includes you. And then he's like, oh god, no, stop killing me. Oh, and yeah, Broly did threaten to destroy the planet, because he wanted to fight, and they weren't putting up a very good fight. All Saiyans want to fight. Broly wants to fight a lot more than most Saiyans, which really says something. Well, I mean, Trunks and Gohan are obvious exceptions to this, but for the most part, all Saiyans want to fight. It's not unusual for, in the movies, all of the main characters to be fighting at once and still not be able to even scratch the bad guy. And that's the case with this movie too, but they spend a lot longer building up Broly's immense power in this one, so maybe it feels a lot more genuine. There are a few attempts at twists during the fight, just like the normal series usually offers, but they're not as creative, and Vegeta being scared is a really cool idea, but it's not interesting enough to make the fight drag on as long as it does. The way the fight is eventually resolved is also a bit underwhelming.
if you can take this. See if you can take this. You just don't give up, do you?
Overflowing! Another moth to the flame, huh? Do your worst. A monster. I am a devil.
Calling Piccolo another moth to the flame is really appropriate considering how little impact he makes on the fight, but his appearance is enough to get the other Z-Fighters off the ground and fighting again, and I think this is meant to illustrate how the Z-Fighters just don't give up, even when they're obviously going to die. Piccolo also performs another very important function by insulting Vegeta. He basically drags Vegeta back to the fight and says, "Hey, you either fight or you're a wuss. Are you a wuss? I don't think you're a wuss, but maybe you're a big wuss-face wuss." And this eventually pisses Vegeta off enough to make a difference, but it takes a second. It takes just long enough for the movie to last a tiny bit longer, which is really what you need. It is very entertaining to watch the edited American version, if only for the American rock music that plays all the time.
I thought I was pretty tough. He's on a whole other level.
I know these fools are fighting a losing battle. But I can't just stand here and do nothing! Don't just stand there, Trunks!
Father!
Now you'll face me, the Prince of all Saiyans! Then I will enjoy watching you die.
So Vegeta does eventually get back into the fight even though he knows he's gonna die, and he gets wrecked pretty much immediately. As soon as he jumps back in, he pretty much gets utterly destroyed by Broly. I mean, he expected it to happen, so, you know, whatever. So because this fight isn't particularly interesting, we're going to talk about what happens after the fight instead. Immediately after this, all the Z-Fighters are just kinda lying around half dead. And Broly goes to find Paragas, who's trying to escape in one of those Saiyan pods. And Broly promptly destroys him for obvious reasons. Now, the original reason Paragas lured everyone to this planet was so he could blow them up with a comet that was due to hit it very shortly. And after he lost control of Broly, of course the idea was also to destroy Broly with the comet while he escaped. But after Broly killed Paragas, Broly was like, this comet wouldn't even kill me anyway, it barely would have scratched me. I suppose it's also worth noting that Broly killed Paragas by crushing his space pod with his bare hands, which is incredibly brutal.
That all? Well, I suppose in the end, trash will be trash. Though clearly no match for Broly's awesome strength, Goku was far too determined to back down.
Can't let him keep going like this! I'm not going to lose!
Come on then! This place will be your grave!
We can't let him keep going like this. I'm not going to lose. Everyone, lend me your power! It's our only chance to stop him!
In a final desperate attempt to defeat Broly, Goku gathered energy from his friends, hoping to power up. But will Goku's power be enough to defeat the legendary Super Saiyan Broly?
You won't get away with this!
The short answer is yes, it was enough power to defeat Broly, but the long answer is that no, it wasn't until Vegeta decided to pitch in. And of course it took Vegeta a while to decide to pitch in, because that's just how he is. There is very little I have to say about this fight, but to the game's credit, it did not stretch this out into 2 fights. It very easily could have, it's not like it would have been that difficult, but I guess they finally decided it was time to show some restraint and stop stretching things out as long as possible. Oh yeah, and I'm pretty sure Broly, like, explodes after Goku punches him at the end of this fight. I'm pretty sure his body literally erupts with that green glow he has around him right now. So that's pretty much it for the Broly saga. Broly is an interesting character because he's just really, really fucked up. But the fight against him isn't all that interesting, and so neither is most of the movie.
Finish! Impossible! Pouring all of his power into a single attack, Goku finally put an end to Broly's rampage.
Looks like we won.
Against all hope, the Z Fighters worked together to defeat the legendary Super Saiyan Broly. They enjoyed some well-deserved rest.